I would never bet on Father Time again. I would never bet on Father Time again because, boy, you're talking about that Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight, baby. It was built up with such tremendous hype that we couldn't wait to watch it. Matter of fact, I even helped push it out and share it for others to watch. Hi, this is Robert Wilkins. I'm AKA Basketball Tall. Welcome to my channel. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to give you my breakdown of the fight, analyze and give my opinions and so forth. And I'd like to hear what you think. Share your comments about what we saw. Because I must say, Father Time showed his hand last night. But anyhow, getting ready for this fight. Mike, he was training vigorously. He was punching the bags, lifting the weights. He was doing it all. And not just that, that 58-year-old body looked like a masterpiece. You're talking about muscle deluxe. But as we know, it takes more than just muscle building. It takes aerobics, a lot of it. Like the days of old when Muhammad Ali and all the others, Joe Frazier, including Mike himself during his prime, used to run for miles. And of course, jabbing, baby, jabbing as they run. But I think maybe that was a little lost in yesterday's fight. What do you think? But the thing is, Mike looked ferocious, like he was just going to beat Jake down to a pulp. That's what we saw during the training. That's what we saw during the video. Or was that just editing? And Mike was just looking like he had the power. Matter of fact, all the pros talked about the last thing to go is the power. First thing to go is the speed. But did we see the speed that we used to see of Mike? Because, boy, Mike was extremely fast during the days of old. But, boy, he's hitting those punching bags. He's sparring, and so forth with his trainer. And he looked like he's going to just take Jake's head off. And then we go to Jake's side and watching him work out and train. It looked kind of light in comparison. Even though we saw Jake seemed to have a punch based on his record. What is it, 9-1 with, 7 knockouts? And here we had Iron Mike. And all of us from the days of old, we wanted to bring our kids on so they can also watch the fight on Netflix. And so they can get a glimmer of what we used to talk about. Iron Mike, his punches hit different from everybody else. Mike said he had body blows, baby, that hit harder than anybody that would bend over it. I've seen him knock a person out just from a body blow. He had to bend over and had to give up. But we know Mike hit that body. Then, of course, he'll get that uppercut or he'll step to the side, baby, and come up with that uppercut. That was Mike. But let's get to the fight. Now, of course, there were some earlier fights, before, Tyson and Paul had theirs. And I must say, that women's fight was, wow, that was bloody. Now, that was a fight. They were the co-main event. And the thing, let's see, her name was Taylor versus Serrano. And boy, those women went at it because they knew they were up on a big stage. They knew not just 70-some thousand people at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, but there were millions around the world watching this fight because everybody wanted to see Mike. But the thing is, when the announcer, of course, called out the specs about each fighter, and then when the bell rang, ding, Mike came out. Like Mike always do, he do that bobbing and stuff. And then he was jabbing, and the jab didn't look like the jab of old, but Mike was always a powerhouse guy anyway, But the thing is, when he did hit Jake kind of took him back a little bit. But then, Mike won that first round, according to all the judges. And I would give it to him too. But then came the second round. And Mike still showing us, giving us some hope, a glimmer, and the crowd just going wild. And guess who's the bad guy this time? It used to be Mike, always used to be the bad guy in the days of old, but now Jake Paul is the bad guy. And everybody root for Mike with every little punch, every little throw. We're all screaming for Mike. Yay! But then Jake caught him a graze right across that temple area. Mike felt his power, didn't he? And not just that, you can see it in his face. And Anyway, when the bell rang, that second round was over. Then, of course, I thought, well, could go to Jake. But then again, Tyson started out strong as the aggressor at the beginning, and the judges gave it to Mike. So now Mike's 2-0. As far as he won 2 rounds out of the 8, the first 2. Now, after that second round, we're watching Mike in this corner with his trainers, and he's gasping for air. Mike looked worn out. And that's what I was talking about earlier. You know, the running, the aerobics, that running to build stamina, to build endurance. His body looked great. But boy, he was sucking in some oxygen. But then that third round came, and Mike, you know, he's jabbing and stuff, but it was very little. And he started hopping around and stuff. Then that's when Jake started hitting him a little bit, get a little bit more, scored a little bit more. But then we saw the change in the game from the third all the way to the 8. Mike was just holding on. Mike wasn't throwing those counter punches like we normally see. He wasn't doing the uppercut. He wasn't being as aggressive as he known to be. Just like the great Larry Holmes, who had the best jab there ever was, but Mike knocked him out because he kept on coming. And the thing also is, to be able to knock Mike out, we all know you pretty much got to kill Mike, because Mike was always known to be able to take a punch. Reminds me of that Buster Douglas, when Buster Douglas's mother had died. And then he still fought. He could have not fought, but he knew this was a grand stage, and he still fought that fight with Mike Tyson. And boy, you know, we know this. In order to beat Mike, everything has to be all lined up perfectly. And Buster caught him with a straight one. And Mike, I think there was an uppercut. He caught one uppercut. Mike's head went up like that. And then Buster came back with him and hit him another, bam! And then he hit him with another. Buster took him down like we've never seen anybody go down. All the punches were perfect. As Mike was going down, Buster was still hitting him as he went down, because that's the only way you're going to beat Mike. You notice how Mike's neck looked? Mike's solid. That's why they called him Iron Mike. But Buster Douglas took him down, and Mike, it was an ugly sight to see my champ, our champ, on the canvas, looking around, trying to find his mouthpiece. And then when he found it, he stuck in his mouth, and half of it was hanging out, and the referee stopped the fight. Because we know Mike, he's a true warrior. He's the type of guy that you have to kill in the ring. But the ref stopped the fight. Mike lost. But he was still America, the world's favorite, because they knew he was a beast inside. Mike's got that. If you got to be in a war or fight, baby, who do you want on your side? I want Mike. Because we know we're going to go in with a certain attitude, and it's all about winning, baby. But looking at that fight, Mike was out of gas. Mike, he didn't have that same confidence as he had before, because he felt some of Jake's stings. See, one thing about the mind says you can do it. But then the old father clock comes in, that time tells you, no, you can't do it like you used to. You know, even though I'm 6 feet 6 inches in height, I can go to the YMCA and kids ask me, dunk the ball. I'm going in there just for exercise, trying to maintain, because I'm in my mid 60s. And the thing is, the kids want me to dunk the ball. I can't dunk the ball anymore. Father Time has claimed a lot of things, but I can still shoot. I think that's the last thing to go with basketball players. But looking at all of that, something to remember. We can't beat Father Time. It wins 100% of the time. Father Time is undefeated. But boy, wasn't it great to see our champion back in the ring one more time, even though he gave us a little good glimmer in round 1. But he couldn't hold on because his days were over. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Jake. Because Jake is a social media superstar. And not just that, what he did, he brought eyes back on the sport. You remember the days when you had Joe Frazier, Kid Norton, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman. Then we went to the welterweight division. We had Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hitman Hearns, and marvelous Marvin Hagler. Then Mike in his era. You talking the best times, the best era ever in professional boxing. So thank you, Jake, because you brought eyes back on a sport that we've been missing. I have no idea. Many of you don't know who are the great top boxers in today's time. We know there are a few. I think that this Prince guy, I forgot his name. He's a lower weight division, and he's hard to hit, you know. And I think he's from England. But who are the heavyweight champs? Like we used to know all of them. So even though one can be upset and say, "Oh, it was rigged, it was staged, that was fake, they didn't go." Hey, I disagree with that, because those first 2 rounds, they were very serious. But then it just showed Mike was out of gas. And Jake realized that too. But I still enjoy just to be able to watch my old champ one more time, to at least go in the. We hope that he was selling to sunset, baby, with a knockout. But it didn't happen, did it? Mike, thank you. Thank you for giving us a little bit of hope again. But even though you made a lot of people upset and frustrated, I'm sure a lot of people bet a lot of money because you were the favorite. And I'm sure a lot of folks lost a lot of money. But I didn't bet. I just enjoy the game. Robert Wilkins, aka Basketball Tall. Go ahead, if you like, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and that way you'll be able to watch all the new things that I post and put out. Even if not that, please just give me a thumb up. That helps the algorithm. And we need all the help we can when it comes to building these social media platforms. Robert Wilkins, aka Basketball Tall. I hope you enjoyed it just as I did, even though I was frustrated at the end, but I still enjoyed it. See you next time.